What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Major Keyz podcast, talking to keyboard players about music and life and everything in between. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Justin C. Gilbert. What's up, bro?
All is fantastically well, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Man, I had to, man. How go things? Like, as we're filming this in the new year, you know, you kind of winding down, you're gearing up. Like, how's it going?
Yo, facts at the same time, right? I started off the year. I'm always very reflective around this time of year, as I have a December birthday, December 28th.
Nice.
So with that, I mean, of course, you know, besides being gypped from all of the birthday amenities that everyone else gets to experience.
Oh yeah, you get the short end of the stick. You're like,
bruh,
oh yeah, cool, all right. Bro.
Yeah. So it's like I find myself being super reflective. You know what I'm saying? I got tired of the whole one sock for Christmas, one sock for your birthday madness. It's like, cool. I'm gonna just so I just sat in it this year, especially because I reached a milestone birthday. 4 decades, you know what I'm saying?
So, man, happy birthday for sure.
Thank you. So with that, I was like, I wanted to ease into the new year and still be quite reflective and plan a lot. And there are a lot of beautiful things happening this year on the horizon. So I just wanted to kind of take a little time before it gets moving, and it actually kind of starts getting moving tomorrow. So
yeah, man. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, like literally tomorrow. Like as we're filming it. Oh man, so I got you. Cool, making sure it's recorded. So I got you right on time.
Yes, you did.
Hey, man. Cool. Well, glad to have you here, man. But like I said, this is a tell-all podcast. Like as we're filming this, like the Cat Williams thing just came out.
Yeah.
So if you want to air people out, go ahead.
All right, fine, man. It's actually, man, it's crazy that you would say that, man.
Pull out your phone. You got a list.
Yo, that would be nuts.
I've been ready for that. I've just been waiting for someone to tell me.
Because I'm a note taker, so in my notes, it's always like a little, let me just. Nah.
Yeah, these views going to go. Gotta go crazy.
In 2008,
man, I played this one gig. Man, I asked for a motif. They gave me a moe. Man, I was disappointed. Man.
Yo,
never work with that backline company again.
Never
seen them again.
Never mind.
But now, tell me, how did you get started? How did you get started playing keys?
Absolutely. Okay, so shucks, I was raised in a music family, of course, in church. So my dad, My mom and dad are in ministry. My father lost him a couple years back, couple years ago, 2020. But prior to that, he had been pastoring for several decades. I was like a choir baby, low key, right? So my mom would direct the choir, and I was the pinch hit drummer. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like when there was a no show or somebody was late, you know what I'm saying? I would get a little PT at that point. So I was cool with that. Or they'll give you like the ballad, you know what I'm saying? Or offering, you know what I'm saying? I was like that drummer. I was super excited. I always had sticks in my back pocket type vibes. Yeah. And I was just always enthralled with the music and the energy, right? So even though I was a drummer, I think I was super dialed in and aware of like who was dope on keys. Yeah. For some reason, I just had a lot of people in my family play, right, including my mother. So it was all kind of more of a classical background. But being in the church context, and the church I grew up in was Thankful Baptist Church, so it was like a Baptist church with more.
Thankful Baptist Church where?
830 West College Avenue.
In Rome?
In Georgia. I'm sorry, in Atlanta. Well, Decatur, technically.
Okay, because like the church that I play for now is Thankful Baptist Church in Kennesaw.
Okay.
So I was like, I didn't know if it was like
together. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. So now, Bishop James Morton was the pastor there, rest his soul. So it was a very rich musical place. Right. And I just remember like all of the vibes. I remember how when the spirit be high, you know what I'm saying, you'll get chills, and just like the vibe in there and just the way it felt, how hot it was, how, you know, it was just very exciting. So of course, drums is most eye-catching because it's the most demanding physically. So it's like, oh man, I want to be on drums. And then I was cool on drums, but I don't think I really hit like pro level or nothing. Like I wasn't that dialed into it. I was always kind of liking keys, even though I couldn't play. So like, even though cats were like clearly I couldn't play, but I could tell you who had that sauce. I could tell you who had the vibes, like, he different, or she got some different chords and stuff.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I guess I got to be about 6. My mom was making me and my siblings play piano.
Okay.
So we were taking lessons, and me as the baby, I really fought against it the most, man. So
wow. So you weren't trying to do
that.
I
hated it. I hated it because I was like in drum mode, you know what I'm saying? Sticks in my back pocket, you know what I'm saying, at the piano lessons. So it's like, I ain't here for this.
Yeah.
But mom was like, let's do it for a couple years. So I guess about 2 years of that, you know, my sister and my brother were kind of excelling. They were getting better, doing their thing, taking it seriously. I just wasn't quite into it, but I was, getting lessons and, learning things. So it was cool. I guess eventually, maybe a year and a half into it, almost 2 years, my mom was like, that's enough because you're stressing me out. You know what I'm saying? Wow. I would be running from the teacher. Like, she would pick us up from school. Like,
So you were a menace.
I would see her brown Crown Vic pull up and I just bust out running because I didn't want to do it, but it was cool. Shout out Miss Middlebrooks. She's a sweetheart. I bump into her every couple years, just kiss her face real hard.
That's
be
nice.
Like, yo, thank you, like, for working with me because it did give me a foundation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess I got to be about 10, and by this time I stopped the lessons around 8, but then I started going for it by myself, like just kind of vibing to songs off the radio or something I would hear at church. I'd come home and try to like play that joint. And so eventually I started getting like a thing. Like, it would just be a thing. I come home, get home from school, knock out whatever homework, just kind of play around a little bit, then go play outside, and then I was spending more time on keys. And then my dad started pastoring when I was about 10 or 11. And at that point, I just went to him one day. I was like, Dad, like, I think I want to do this. And he stood me up in front of the church. He was like, hey, this is my son. He's, 11, 12. He's going to be helping us out on keys. And
wow,
like,
just like that.
Just like that, you know what I'm saying? I guess that's that nepotism. But thank God for nepotism because it got me in the door, got me active. And, there were some good musicians over there. Esmond Patterson Jr. was like the main musician at my dad's church. And from there, there was a lady that they brought in to direct named Eleanor Gilbert. And she was really gifted with like worship type stuff. And this is around, I guess, like the 90s, late 90s, when they were kind of transitioning from devotion to like praise and worship type vibes. Yeah. So she was big on that because the church she came from, they had a heavy worship influence. Jimmy Lee Smith, Light of the World. So I was, she saw potential in me and was like, you need to come to my church. So they had an early morning service before my dad's service. So she got me on over there. This guy, the minister of music there, Felix Williams, love him to life. This guy really pushed me and challenged me a lot because their house, when I say their house, their ministry, the heartbeat of their ministry was very traditional, right?
Okay.
But I was super new school and didn't have that, I was super contemporary.
Yeah. And
while those vibes can mesh well, I think it meshes best when someone is very aware of what those traditional things entail. Like if you're a contemporary player, you should know how to put down some real traditional, straight up 7 chords, just, super straight.
Like keep it straightforward. Like, so just like if you are a contemporary player, like being able to switch back and forth.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes. Yeah. And being, just being able to serve the song, right? So there, like, I remember, man, some of like the most challenging things were like understanding when to do things and what was dope. And what Felix showed me was how to basically be like a DJ in the church setting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He showed me how to understand the room, how to be in tune with what's happening, how to listen to every word that's being spoke over the pulpit, every word, so that, and he was like, always have a song in your heart. Always have a song in your heart. When you come into church, you should just be thinking on something, vibe something, have a song in your heart. And then from there, as people are saying things, think of songs that coincide so that the experience can be, cohesive,
right,
and congruent and just dope for everyone there, because it's songs that everybody knows. But when you drop them at the right time,
then definitely
they
like,
go crazy.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. So Felix was is a traditional player. He's pastoring now, but what I saw him do, man, is he just had this ability to have like everybody in the church on like pins and needles. Like that thing it could just burst. He just knew what to do. Like one note, it could be like, oh, I was like, okay. He was like, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So he, it took a lot of dirty looks and like, and back then, the culture wasn't sensitive at all, and people weren't politically correct. They'll let you know, oh, that was trash. Or I remember Bishop Smith, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He loved me. I remember when I was young, he told me he was preaching, right, and I was playing these contemporary weird chords that sound wrong to the untrained ear.
Right. Stuff
that sounds like it's dope to musicians and people that are super aware,
but people that are just like listening, it's just like,
it's like,
what you,
nah, that ain't it.
Yeah.
So I'm playing something dope to me,
and you're killing.
I'm smashing.
Killing. Yeah.
He preaching. He was like, he keeps doing this like, that's awful. That's awful. And I was like, okay.
Wow. In the middle of hooping.
Right then.
In the middle of hooping.
Yeah. But see, that was the difference. And it showed me, okay, I'm going to stay away from that chord, because every time I do that chord, he look over here. All right, cool. So I started, it wasn't an offense. I didn't take offense. It felt strange, but I knew that he was doing it to build me. And I could feel the love in it. In that correction. That's awful. Cool. So I was like, I bet. Let me learn what these vibes are, because he plays also. So I remember sometimes Felix would be out. He would sit in and play with the choir and stuff and see the vibes. So I learned all the hymns of the church and just the whole gamut of things from being in that environment. And from there, I mean, these music careers just really snowball, because much like in life, every time you conquer a lesson and learn a thing and you're able to implement that knowledge gained, there's a new lesson to be learned, a new hill to climb. And so from there, I was taking all that stuff I was learning back to my dad's church, and oh man, the house going crazy. They was like, oh, your son is okay, cool. So he's like, cool. From there, it just, then you would see people, they were like, can you play for my wedding? Cool. Can you play at this restaurant?
And this is like, you're like 15, 16?
So at this point, I'm about 15, 16, when it's starting to hit a little bit.
And so is that when you start taking it? So like you started like developing the interest a little bit more, like around 11, right?
Yep.
And so you kind of start playing in church, and like, so when did you think like, oh man, I'm gonna do this for real, like I'm actually like taking this seriously? Or like when you were playing in church, were you still taking it seriously, like this is what I want to do with my life? Or this is like, I'm getting better at this, but like I still might want to do something else?
I always knew I was gonna go with this music trajectory.
Okay.
I would sit in class and dream about it, like daydream about it, as like third grade.
Yeah.
I always knew that this was where I wanted to be, in this creative space, and pouring from those gifts. And I just knew that would be my life. Don't know how, I just sensed it, and I was like, let me just eat all that I can so that I can have a lot to pull from. So the repertoire, my personal repertoire started to expand because I was doing more gigs. So I'm doing weddings, learning these Luther Vandross cuts. Okay, cool. Can you play for this restaurant? Can you play for this reception? Cool. Yeah. Can you play for, this funeral? So it's like, so at this point now, okay, it's getting good. Okay. Can you play for the conference? And it's like, that was kind of one of my chief aspirations as a young church musician. I was like, I just wanted to be the hot dude for the conference.
Because like that's when everybody was like around. This is when all the, because like I was never really in that arena, like for real.
Okay.
So I know of it. Know of it, but I was never like a part of it for real.
Okay.
So it was like, for the conferences, for the people that are listening that don't know.
Yes.
So it's like, oh yeah, like you have like the conventions or whatever.
Yes.
And so, if you're like in the house band for the thing, it's like, oh, he's killing for real.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you wanted to. So that's what you wanted to be.
And what's crazy is it was like I grew up at a time when it was not uncommon for there to just be a musician and a drummer, a keys player and a drummer, organist, drummer, that two-piece. So I was like, I wanted to be a killing two-piece, Bob. That was the thing. So as I started, getting those calls and it was happening, yeah, the two-piece thing was cool. Yeah, I had the tricks. I was double pedals and stuff. And it was like, cool. But then a band might come through playing with an artist or a group, but their production quality and their cohesiveness and how they played together was lifting the room in a way that a two-piece just can't.
Right.
So then my focus started to shift. So then I was about maybe 17 or 18. Shout outs to like Trey Gilbert and those people that were around for the come up and gave like that guidance and even those hard lessons. Like, I remember being in a rehearsal with Trey. Trey was playing at New Beginning, which was later what Thankful Baptist Church became, because they're that they went through a whole Baptist thing, and this ended up being a new ministry. Yeah. So Trey was over there basically MDing, and I would be around for their choir rehearsals because I just loved the musicians, and they just had a vibe over there, and it was my home church, so it was nothing to go like be around. So I'd be playing at rehearsal, and a chord might come up that I don't know that chord. Like I'd be trying to look over. He's like, nah, figure it out. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So, these things, like it be seeming like what do they call it? Like when you're trying to pledge for a frat. Like a hazing. It's got a little hazing on it. But it's like, you need that stuff a little bit because, otherwise you won't push past your comfort zone and what in your timing and how you want to do it. So yeah, man. It went from there. Then Trey started kind of calling me for things like, that required oh shucks. I can't talk about my journey and not talk about like my musical dad, Sergio Kroom, who was like a mentor to like Rick Carter and who mentored Trey on bass. I met Sergio at Light of the World, the church I played at the early morning for before I would go to my dad's church. He was playing bass over there. He's pastoring now. And he runs a really dope establishment called the C Room Multiplex out here, Sergio Kroom. So at that church, he saw even more potential. And he was like, all right, cool. I want you to do this, this service with me over at my mom's church. It's a straight apostolic deliverance situation, but I think you should be there. So I started hanging with him. And that's where I was playing organ. Then he put a keyboard on top of the organ and was like, cool. You hear them horns on the intro? I'm going to need that. Cool. Gotcha. So then it started developing that independence and being able to be thick here, both hands, individually and play different parts and have that whole thing going on. And then, from there, it made it easier to learn secular music and hear production and hear what's going on in the song and be able to assess the musical landscape and really be able to play songs and in a recognizable way to people that have no musical ability. It's like you start playing this one little thing, they like, that's my hey. Okay, so yeah, fast forward, that's part of that whole picture. I'm just kind of growing and getting a whole bunch of skills under my belt. And then, Trey would have me doing things. I remember Little John. I was like the little homie that they would call for like quick hits. Somebody was coming into town, needed a band, rehearse that day. Someone that could absorb the material and retain whatever arrangement for the day and go and execute that thing. And so that was going on for a couple years with Little John. And then, I was doing some gigs. I guess one of the first gigs I did was Monica. That was like 2006. So this was after I was getting all that schooling from Little John and Trey and so many others. And, golly. Man, as I'm speaking on it, it's just reminding me about other moments on that whole path, right? Because my life is a testament of intersection and how we can all be on our individual paths.
Yeah.
But those things intersect, and we're able to add to each other. I met Natalie after I realized
Natalie who?
Natalie Reagans.
Okay, yeah, Natalie Reagans.
I started playing with a choir out here called David Walker and High Praise. That was my first like community choir gig. I was 15, and they saw potential in me. And this was around that time I realized like, okay, like I could be the 2-piece dude, but like that ain't gonna hit as hard as if I can make the band feel good.
Yeah.
If I can make it just feel good wherever. So then I started playing with High Praise and learning from Nat, and I was playing with Daryl and James Barrett, Daryl Freeman, and we just had a unit for years, and it was like they had already been playing together. So to come into that chemistry, it showed me how to fit, and gave me an understanding about where the sweet spot was, when to do things, and how to go about putting coloring inside the lines musically. Okay, so cool. I feel like I'm talking a lot. So.
Hey man, I would rather you tell me and like give me way more than like what I would have expected than just being like, oh yeah, man, started playing keys and now I play for Justin Timberlake.
Yo,
and then like that, like I would, and then all right, cool, all right, I'm gonna go. I would way much rather that and get like, but the thing is like these smaller like inside things, like beyond the questions that I ask, like it's super important. That's where like the gems and stuff are.
Okay.
Like all this stuff, like it's important to know that like, oh man, I actually like a lot of people might be in that phase of like, I'm not feeling it at first, but then it's like, okay, like maybe let me try again, like on your own time, and then like maybe I'll get it.
Yes.
And then also, it speaks to you might have to get not beat up, but some tough love. Yeah. But that's gonna get you to the next level because like some people, like this generation, like you can't tough love on anyone, and then it's like, oh man, like you get sensitive, then you quit.
Facts.
But like, if I'm gonna assume like the people who are telling you that, they weren't telling you to discourage you. They're telling you because like, yo, I'm telling you that this isn't good, so you can really get it into your head, so you can go to the next level.
Exactly.
And know that it's good.
Exactly.
So no, I appreciate that. I would way much rather you expound on stuff than just
super cool.
Just like just give me the answer and be like, all right, well, yeah.
Well, bro, I got you. I'm glad to be here, and I love opportunities like this because I don't get to talk about this stuff much, and that whole journey, because people will see kind of where you are at a point, and kind of there's a tendency to say someone is an overnight success. This happened overnight, but like that was a hell of a long night.
It was a long
but it was necessary.
Absolutely,
it was necessary.
Yeah,
all
man.
of them.
So tell me about. So is Monica your first big? Because like I know of some of the stuff that you've done. Like I'm not akin to like everything. Okay. So like was that the first big gig? And you played with Tyler Perry, right?
Yes.
Is that true? So so just give me the timeline of those and like how those came about too.
Okay, Monica, that was around 2006. 2006. I remember it was like a rainy day in Georgia. We were and the line, the halls at Crossover Studios were full of musicians auditioning for the gig. Inside of the room hosting auditions was Kern Brentley, Gerald Hayward, and Valdez. I feel like it may have been, I think that was just those three. I came to meet two other, really influential cats through that gig, Gil Smith and Jeff Motley. But it started with Kern, Valdez, and Gerald, and we all came in the room, and they made us like listen to something, and it was like a Keyz bass drum and guitar station set up.
Okay.
So this particular day, I was auditioning. We did, let's say, something like whatever her bop was at the time. Could have been So Gone or who knows. But we had to sit in there, learn it, then perform it, play it back. cool. So I was accustomed. This was right in my, right in my wheelhouse, because I've been accustomed to listening and assessing production, so I could hear what the sounds were, and as opposed to watching church hands, and all that. I was used to learning forms of songs. So cool. I'm listening for the sections and the textures and what's coming in on the hook. Cool. What's the mains? Oh, is that a EP? Is that a piano? Or was that a Rose? Okay, cool. So I'm assessing the thing. Right. Cool. So when it's my turn, I'm up, get some sounds pulled up. Cool. Kind of, maybe put a little string under there just for a little something cool. Yeah. And me and the homies, we played that thing, and then of course, I love energy. I think energy is everything, and at that time I didn't realize it as much as I do now, but people kind of listen with their eyes, especially if they're not musically inclined. So what you're giving your aesthetic, your energy, how you were controlling your area of the stage, or if you were the artist, how you were controlling the stage in the moment, that's what people are responding to. So I'm just, it was just nothing for me to be dancing and just vibing with the music. And that's what I did, and that's what got me the call. So that was the first and last time I auditioned for a gig. But I got it, and the rest is history, man. Like literally with Kern and so many others, like it just kind of opened a lot of doors. Now it was some freebies along that way, and there's some young boy stuff that came with that, some sacrifice. But
describe this, like, without incriminating anyone.
Okay,
but like describe what you mean by that.
I would say, well, I tell anybody that the cost of admission to this industry and to doing the high things is pain. It's going to be some pain and some disappointment in there because, your credentials haven't stacked up in a way that make you a person sometimes, and to some people, that is not susceptible to, like, I would say improper pay or improper usage of time, or not getting all the information, or just little young boy stuff. And being green, you don't necessarily know to ask. You haven't developed those conversations and that tact and that timing to know, okay, cool, so what is this, what does that look like for this? And so, it was some things where, I knew I was sowing into my future. Because, clearly the money either never came or it looked different than what I thought it should have been. Right. But, what I'm saying, you get what you negotiate. And I didn't really at that time have the negotiating skills or experience to be able to, put forth a deal that would be comfortable for me. I'm learning. Right. And growing at the time. So
for sure.
As I still am. So that was the vibe. And it was a thing, just understanding that you got to give to get. And that, it's gonna require, it's gonna take money to make money. I guess for an example, I could say that one of my first tours away from church was with a stage play. Okay. It was a really dope cast. It was like Vivica Fox, Boris Cujo, Richard Roundtree, rest his soul, and so many others. It's called Whatever She Wants. And while this gig it only paid maybe $300 to $400 more than I would have made at home. You know what I'm saying? Just doing my church and my gig every night of the week, hustle. You know what I'm saying? I used to be hustling these Atlanta streets. So for sure. So it wasn't paying but $300-400 more, but I knew that by getting that skill and adding that to my toolbox, that it would make me more marketable and better able to, have opportunities like that in the future. So I gave and I showed up. I did my best, and that goes into other things. That then switches you over to like Tyler Perry. Once people can recognize your face and know that you know what that job entails. It's just funny how it all happens. These careers snowball, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like one thing. And then like it seems like it'll just come out of nowhere too. Like when you're not even thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, I got your number from this person that I met whenever. And it's like, oh dog, I didn't even know that you were thinking about me and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's happened a couple times. I was like, dog, like I did a gig with you like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you're asking me to do that, you know? So,
Yeah.
but no, I definitely get that. So like in playing, like the plays, because like I've actually still never done a play.
Okay.
Like I've seen the Tyler Perry plays. I think I talked to T. Lee about it like very briefly. Like tell me what the process is behind that versus doing a show with someone like Monica or something like that.
All right. So I think the main thing about plays is probably understanding what musical tonality accompanies certain emotion and how to evoke that emotion with what's played. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the texture of it or where you're playing on the keys, if you high, real sensitive.
Yeah.
And making that dialogue sing, making that dialogue live for the audience by not being in the way, like being felt as opposed to being heard.
Yeah.
That's what the play thing will really require of a musician, and understanding how to get in there, because you'll get your spots where you can play if you're patient and you serve the songs and serve the moments, because it's about the moments and really being able to feel that emotion yourself, to feel what emotion is meant to be conveyed, and almost be outside of yourself as an audience member, but be providing that musical backdrop, that soundscape that is going to make the experience cohesive. So, you know, that's like in a nutshell what I would describe the role of a keyboard player in those instances. The preparation for it is similar. You know, you may rehearse. There will be, of course, separate musicians' rehearsals for songs and things, but as far as timing, you know, once it gets closer to time to go, you're talking at least maybe 2 weeks of 2 or 3 a days. You know, see the whole
2 or 3 like run throughs.
Perform,
yeah.
So, you know, of course, there's going to be notes between each rehearsal.
Yeah,
they'll let you know what's working, what needs to shift, and it's important to have a can-do attitude and not be married to one way of doing things.
Instead of like locking into like one idea, because like the director can easily just say, nah.
So don't lock it until it's locked. You know what I'm saying? When y'all hit the road and y'all got that synergy and that thing almost goes like where you know it's getting second nature, like that's when you lock it in. But even those first couple weeks, because now you're adding the audience element, which wasn't in rehearsal.
Right.
So what could have worked as, you know, just the rehearsal thing is not translating the same, or it needs more of something or less of something. So, you know, it's just about, you know, being malleable in that way and being a team player and understanding what's best for the production in its entirety and not what's dope musically.
Got you. Yeah, for sure. So when you got the call for gonna transition, when you got the call to play for Justin Timberlake, how was that for you? How did it feel? Like how'd you get hooked up with like Adam Blackstone and all that sort of stuff? I'm gonna assume like that's how it kind of happened. Like
it certainly it came through Adam.
Yeah.
I would say so. 2023 marked 10 years of working with JT.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess I met Adam around 2007 through my production partner Anthony Parrish. I went through one of their shows at TLA. I was in Philly and just happened to meet him at the bar and just chopped it up. It was cool. He had come in to sub for something with Jill. Of course, he was like her music director those early 2000s before he transitioned to Kanye. Yes, Jill Scott. I'm sorry. Thank you. So I was kind of holding down the Jill thing because Little John brought me in for that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Little John, he built that bridge and really kind of, you know, brought me into that Philly scene and to a point where, you know, I met and you know, fell in love with the vibes and the city and the cats and you know, to the point where people be thinking I'm from Philly, low key. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a Georgia boy, but they see me with those people. Mm-hmm. So the JT call comes top of the year 2013. I want to say, or like right around the end of the year 2012.
Okay.
So it was like, hey, you know, they're looking to make a move with a band situation, and I told them who I need. This is, you know, coming from Adam. I told them who I need, and he.
When you say who you need, like, what do you mean?
He assembled his band.
Okay, got you.
And of course, with that, took that back to them, and of course, like any wise business person, they want to see what your socials are hitting for and what you're talking about online to see if you'll be a good fit, and if it'll be good for your brands to partner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we are a brand individually, and you know, when we're working with artists, that is something that must be considered. So if you're online talking foolishness all day or posting fight videos, you might not be a good fit because you don't think in a way that is expansive and can lend you to be inspirational. You can't amplify the artist's message, and vice versa. So call comes from Adam. Cool. Top of the year, we're gonna go in LA. We'll rehearse a couple weeks. You know, the first thing we got coming up is the Grammys. You know what I'm saying? At this point, no one has seen JT in quite a few years.
And this is for the people that don't know. This is like Suit and Tie. This is 2020
This is Suit and
era.
Tie.
Yeah.
Yes, 2020 Experience album. So this is 2013. We are and we were in rehearsals at Third Encore in LA, and we rehearsed for several weeks. We were just preparing for, like, you know, a couple little one-offs, and mainly that Grammy Awards performance.
Okay,
I believe that was. I believe it was the Grammys, and because that was like a re-emergence for Justin himself, JT. So we you know, we got in there and did our thing, and I mean, it actually reminds me of my first meeting, like my first musical meeting with JT. It went something like cats were out to lunch, kind of like, so it was just me in the room. I was programming sounds, like listening to the records, trying to kind of really get this rose kind of real close. So I'm tweaking and doing stuff, finding sounds. And he walks in, and it's like a long walk from the back of the room to like where I was playing Keyz. So I'm just in there, and just kind of caught eyes. Like, we were still pretty new to each other. So he was like, "Hey, you know this?" And start singing Roberta Flack, Donny Hathaway, "Where's the Love?" Just random. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he didn't know that years before, for some gig somewhere, somebody had me learn the song.
Right.
So he's going right, original key. I jump in, we vibe, and it's just he and I in there. It's like, cool. Thanks. The rest is history, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I guess the whole, as an artist, I'm sure you can relate. There's nothing like building a musical rapport with a group of musicians to the point where you can almost musically trust fall. And you know they with you. It's like you can feel it. Everybody's eyes, we mean eyes. It's like, it's the communication, it's the nonverbals, it's the offstage vibes that come onto the stage. And so we were just building that rapport. And, you know, 10 years later, it's like, it's just 10 years and hundreds of shows. You know, we've literally been on stage more than 500 times together. Yeah. There's something about that just, it's indescribable almost, but it's a musical trust fall, and having the people around you that can amplify your vision and musically bring to it what you're bringing artistically, and he's, you know, he's a joy to work with. Just a you know, country boy, simple man, quiet confidence, but he knows his stuff. He's very aware musically and otherwise. So it's just like, it's just magic, man. It's magic.
Man,
alignment.
Yeah, man.
Alignment.
Oh, we're gonna get into that too. Oh, that was a good segue. You know, I'm gonna use it. I mean, I still wanted to talk Like I was trying to think about like if I had another question about JT though.
Man,
But like
anyway.
if I come back to it, I'll come back to it.
I got you.
But yeah, you also have your own music out.
I do.
Your first album is entitled Alignment, right? That's
It's
your first
entitled Aligned.
Aligned. My
Yep.
bad.
No, you're
Aligned.
right there.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right there.
But
You're
like
right there.
that's the name of your first album.
Yes.
So tell me the process of that, because I don't know if you had like produced and worked with other artists before that, but I know going out and doing your own thing is a risk, and it's a different set of challenges than just being someone else's keyboard player.
Facts.
And even and it's even more of a challenge, like, because I know like you've been an MD in certain situations too, but like spearheading your own project, I think is independent. Like I know like that's a whole new set of circumstances.
Facts.
So tell me how that was for you to do that and like the
Facts.
process behind.
Man, so while we were doing the 2020 Experience tour, and we were wrapping up a previous tour. I want to say the Legends of the Summer tour with.
Man,
Yeah.
if I would have known, like that was before I started going to concerts.
Okay,
If that like happened like when I was like in school, and man,
dude,
I know that I know that was crazy.
It was an amazing time. I was rocking with Jay-Z and JT, and during that whole time, I was like heavily into my process. You know how when you get deep into that album process, and it's like every day is you're listening, you're thinking of something. It's edits. It's just listen downs. It's let me try this here. We're getting real close. So the whole time we were like touring up until the record drop, like October of 2015. We were on the road. I was laptop and MIDI keyboard set up in the room. I was, utilizing cats from the band. Like, hey, can y'all hit these horns on this? Hey, can I get I need to come to sound check early and record some organ. Cool. Just, what I'm saying, creating the situation that was needed and using the resources that were at hand. So it was super urgent to me, and I didn't really understand why. But I knew I had to get that baby out of me. I mean, I think prior to me dropping that album, I had like an experience where my life was attempted. Someone was trying to carjack me.
Oh, wow.
And from that experience, having someone shoot a gun point blank range in my face, he was inside of my car, and I was outside pulling the door handle, and I just saw it in just enough time to drop and retreat back into the residence I was at. And he gets out and runs, and it's like that left me with so many questions about what would have happened right then. You know what I'm saying? I have a son at the time. My son was maybe 3 or 4.
Right.
I'm like, gosh, man, like everything could have ended right there. And what would have been left of me, like from that? So that got my head spinning on purpose and legacy in a whole different way. That really woke me up and got me present. And, God knows what you need, you know what I'm saying, in terms of what it's going to take to activate that thing inside of you that only you have.
Right.
And that was a pivotal moment for me that I think kind of ushered me into the awareness that these gifts aren't just for me. And it's for humanity. It's for inspiration. It's so much bigger than me that I be not only robbing myself but humanity and the human experience by not putting effort into presenting this. Yeah. So at that point it was like everything was urgent. Like, I just got to get this done. I don't care that I'm on the road. Yeah, I know I'm on tour, but I'm gonna rent this studio. We got a day off. Cool. I'm booking studios in other countries just to get it done. And I got it done. And it's no easy feat, but it really showed me that I can do anything, and that only strengthens that beast inside that wants to be all that God has designed us to be. Like, so yeah, I would say that expanded my bandwidth and capacity and understanding of like, okay, this is bigger than me. let's get this done.
Yeah.
And now there's been subsequent albums. I'm working with 3 now. That was Aligned in 2015. That was the Holiday Sessions in 2016. And then I did a lesser known project,
The EP, right?
Yes, the Questophonic EP
Yeah.
in 2019. And now I'm working on some new magic that
Let's do it. Yeah.
that's more inspirational. But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be powerful, just for humanity again.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be out this year, you think?
Yeah, this year.
Okay, got you.
This year, it's exciting, man. I'm really it's called, my working title right now is Rooted, the Bishop's Brew. The Bishop's Brew.
Yeah.
So I'm really touching some songs that, I think it's maybe Gonzalo Rupacabra was saying that musicians should perform the music that makes them cry, or like they have that emotional connection to. And these are songs from my youth, from church.
Okay.
And these are the songs that when I think about like church, it's like it's almost palpable, just the memories. Like I can remember the chills. I can think about getting the chills and get chills thinking about just being in that atmosphere. So, just touching some songs that haven't been touched, giving them my own complexion and making them mine, but presenting them in a way that is fresh but familiar. And I think it could be a good bridge for the old generation and newer generations to meet here and everyone still be satisfied. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about it.
Not looking forward to that, man.
Yeah.
So the Bishop's Brew. Yeah, so like for people that don't know, like that's your nickname, the Bishop.
That's right.
So let us know where that came from.
The Bishop. Okay, so that moniker was attached to me. I would say it was around the time I was doing plays. So, pretty much in any creative scenario, it's gonna be some mugs from church in there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
especially musician wise,
that's just the nature of it. And people that sing in that way, that's able to evoke that much, like that's that church thing. So we was on the road, and there was a couple cats, me and maybe 2 other cats, like son of pastors, and we were just always vibing. We we called each other bishop or elder or something like that. Deacon. We was deacon. We was docking all that. So it started there, and then it just kind of stuck. And I think what solidified it is actually having to work with someone that had the same name. That's my alarm to send my son to Uber from school.
Oh yeah. Do your thing.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna multitask this. So it came in handy, especially working with someone with the same name, because it's a lot of Justins in that room over there. So it's better to just have a Justin and a Bishop.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
There you go.
So I have many other names, but yeah, that seems to be the one that is stuck. And I think it's because I find myself being like a spiritual base, and I'm the chaplain of the Tennessee Kids. That's so I pray before every show. But even just in life, like you won't be hard pressed to find me saying something that might stay on your mind. And I think a lot. You know what I'm saying? So. Sure. It'd be that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back to the not specifically JT, but like when you're playing with all these artists, how or when do you get to the point like, okay, I know the gig, let me throw some of my own sauce in there, because like I think I can assume like, okay, when you first start the gig, I'm gonna play it straight, I'm gonna do exactly what MD wants, but like maybe by like show 8, it's like, what, maybe I'll like put that run in there. Like when did, or is it like a different, like in each scenario, like maybe JT's like, okay, on this song, y'all can kind of give a little bit more, but on this song, keep it straight. Or even if it's not JT, if it's Alicia Keys, whoever, so like, how do you determine that, or is that more of an MD thing and you just try to keep it as consistent as possible throughout the whole tour or run?
Okay, so that's a great question. One of the things that I think is most important, and what really sets apart the mainstays or the pros from like the amateurs is like coloring inside the lines and really understanding genres enough and music enough to know what would be a good addition. And even understanding what the lyrics are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the lyric is saying something about a waterfall, it might be cool to do something that's a descending.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I one of the things that I'm constantly thinking about is how new is this song? So have the consumers heard this and had enough time to really
Okay.
fool with it as it is?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the song is old and everyone knows the song,
You can kind of.
yeah, you can do some little things, tasteful things. But if it's a brand new song, I wouldn't move much because you still want to let it sit on the people
Yeah.
and become a thing for them. So I think it's just about, and of course, comfort with the artists and personnel will contribute to that. Also, you know, how many pieces are in your band? How many moving parts do you have?
Mm-hmm.
How much wiggle room do you have? You know, and I mean, the cool thing about playing a consistent show is that you're gonna just inevitably find things that happen that feel good to everybody on stage, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna do that next time too.
Right.
So in finding those things, finding your spots, and you know, claiming your spots, and you know, as you get more into it, it'll become clear like what works best right here. Like I know I find things, you know, after we get locked in, then I'll kind of start like searching for things, or like it'll come. It just happens when you serve the music. Your time will come. It just can't help. It's gonna do that for you.
Right.
That's music's courtesy to us. Like play the song real well. Just serve the song. At some point in this, you will see where there's a moment where there's nothing happening vocally, or it's just that moment that's just that you just know it's just yours. Like cool, like that's me. And
Gotcha.
no one is surprised by it. It's like that makes sense. Cool. Next thing. So it's just about, man, coloring inside the lines and being very aware of the material and also being sensitive to your audience. That sensitivity goes from the club, from the stadium to the church, from the Waffle House to the White House. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who is your audience? And putting it where it's super, they can grasp it.
Gotcha.
And it's, you know, serving the song and serving the audience, but also serving you because you are the first audience member. So being mindful of all those things and making decisions that no one will regret. You know what I'm saying? You'll come back to it years later and you will have forgotten what you did or how you thought about it at the time, but you're like, oh, that was kind of cool. I mean, hey, that's how you know. It's like it will stand the test of time when you do it well.
Got you. Yeah, man. All right, gonna ask you a couple of questions I ask everybody.
Sure.
What's the worst gig that you've ever had? Or like what's the worst like fumble or whatever that's happened to you on a gig?
That's a great question. Okay, man. So I had the worst fumble. I was doing this pickup gig, right? A pickup gig is where an artist comes to a city and they pick up band members and you know what I'm saying, there's a house band for whatever the event is. And I did this gig, right? I ain't gonna name no names because I don't want to tell people where the body's at. But I will say my role in the whole thing. I fumbled the gig because I didn't like what I was being paid. And this was early me. I must have been maybe 18 or 19 years old. And I learned a lesson, right? So what happened was, you know, I agreed to a couple $100. Then the song list comes after agreements were reached. And your song list is like 20 songs, 15 I don't know. I'm like, this ain't right. Okay, cool. So being that I had already committed, the responsible thing to do is just take the L, eat it, and perform, get out of there, because that's what you agreed to. But I hadn't yet developed that muscle yet. I didn't know that at the time. So I let the money dictate my effort, and I wasn't prepared for some of the things. So we didn't really see the artist until the day of show. You know what I'm saying? So it was a thing where we were kind of rehearsing. We went through some songs. We played the songs we knew, but it was like, I was really grappling with that.
Were you the MD?
I was not MDing.
Okay, gotcha.
I wasn't MDing. But I'm sure I was making it difficult for the MD.
Yeah.
But I was just young and I
Right.
didn't know. So what happens was we get to the gig, do the gig, and it's not going well when he's calling for his like originals. And so he's like, basically F it. I'm gonna just run with these tracks. Cool in the moment, but not cool, for life and the musical imprint and legacy that I desired to have. So that gig, even though it didn't go well, it taught me something invaluable. It taught me that my commitment it's got to be the same,
no matter what,
no matter where, no matter who. So if that means staying up to learn those elaborate gospel arrangements,
like you got to do it,
If that means, whatever, just doing the necessary actions to get the desired results was what I took away from that gig and from my own underfunctioning and not doing it well.
Yeah.
So I was glad to get the lesson early on. But that's truly something that like the same effort, you don't get the same from me.
Yeah.
If I agree to do it, I'm gonna give you
then I'm in there.
my
then
best.
You're in there. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, I'm like, because I guess it was too late to just like call out and be like, or you needed the money. I'm like, well, I guess I still got to do it, So because I'm thinking like 18, 19, I'm like, dog, I'm not anyone to turn down $200, $300. But like I definitely get it. I definitely get it. And then it's one of those like, oh man, like I'll listen to it one time. Like I'll get it once we get it at rehearsal.
That was
It don't work like
it wasn't that type of music. It was like it was kind of grown and sexy. It's like it had some things, some very specific things.
This was an artist that we would know?
Maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe not on this continent, but a
lot
lot of people would.
Okay,
maybe.
gotcha.
So it was like, dang, that's not a good look.
Yeah.
And that sat on me.
Yeah.
And that the punishment was me having to think about it. Like,
because like that you kind of bombed, and it's like you're not really gonna get the call, and then it's like, you know what, I should have just done right.
That was on me.
Yeah,
that was on me, man. So I took that learning, took that spanking, and it never happened again.
For sure. All right, top three keyboard players that like are like legends, and then top 3 keyboard players that and like who you could call.
Okay, man.
You got to use more than 3 to not leave anybody out. You go ahead. But
all
that's
right, cool.
Top three.
Okay, my top 3. Let's see. Okay, off top, we're going off top, and I'm sure it's so many. Golly, that just made me miss Daniel. But rest in peace, Daniel Jones. Love that guy. That's we like peas and carrots on Keyz. But there's so many. Okay, I'm gonna go with the ones I know that's like in my phone and like that we be rocking. So that's like we'll throw so many good cats. That's a tough one. I mean, some of my boys, I guess I can save them for the legends that we would all know, but the people that personally I know that are great. Gosh, you just had him on the show. Clarence T. Lee Hill, he's a great. T. Lee's great. Daniel Moore, amazing. Natalie Reagan's. Tracy Ann Martin, she's dope.
Had her.
It's so many for so many different reasons.
Yeah,
Vance
for sure.
Taylor is crazy.
Okay, not familiar.
Vance Taylor, he's OG stuff, man. Like Atlanta OG status. Phil Davis.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just so many for so many different reasons. And low key, Vance and Phil should just be in the legendary category. That because those guys, their resumes just crazy.
Yeah.
I'll go to my legends. I would say my career influence, and one of the people that I always was like, I want to. This guy understands something because I see him doing Stevie Wonder, Eric Clapton, and Michael Jackson, like
Greg
Filling Gaines.
Yeah.
You GOAT vibes. It's like that when I saw him, it helped me know that something was possible.
Yeah.
And that just being versatile, it would really take you far. So Greg Finley Gaines, of course, Corey Henry.
Yeah.
That's my boy. Corey Robert Glasper, that's my guy. I like I think it's a cat. I think his name is Christian Sands. He's nice.
I like Christian Sands.
He's nice.
I actually want to get I want to get Christian on here.
Yeah, he's dope, man. It's so many really good keyboard players. Let me see. Now I feel like I'm missing folks, and I feel like I'm gonna think about it later. But shoot. Let's go, I'm trying to think of somebody that I'm gonna leave that there for now.
All right, cool.
I'll come back to it if somebody else pops onto my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
now, if you thought that question was hard, this one's gonna be hard.
okay.
Yeah, everyone gets stumped on this one.
All right.
Build your super group, right?
Okay.
So you have an unlimited availability,
Okay.
unlimited budget.
All right.
You can build whatever sort of band you want. You got to add a rhythm section. I know you know horn players, so I'm going to give you rhythm section, horn player, and, like, who do you want them to be accompanying?
I see.
This can be whatever type of music you want to. Everybody's available. So you can get this cat from this one group that tours all the time. You can get this cat from that one group that tours all the time.
Okay.
And put them behind whoever. If you want to do multiple keys players, if you want to have multiple guitar players, you can do whatever you want to.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of keyboard players, did I say Terrence Vaughn?
Nah.
I meant to.
Okay.
Terrence is amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's it's so many. It's so many. Let me just stop while I'm ahead. But I just love that dude. He's so dope. Monty Newble is insane. Like I don't know if you're hip, but
Nah.
He's that man that's gonna zone the hell out the keyboard and give you all the parts on that. On between two keyboards, he's going insane.
Yeah,
and playing everything that you want to hear, and got a vibe too. Like,
yeah,
Monty's crazy. Okay, let's see. Super band. Let's see. Ooh, I would have to go. I'm gonna keep it sturdy and think about cats that I know that can handle anything. And I mean, our Atlanta's own Good Times Brass Band. That's just the easy.
The most consistent
for
horns. At least 3 or 4 people, like all of the people in Atlanta have said, yeah, Good Times horns. Like just call it a day for them.
Mike Mel Will. That's that they just know, they understand.
Absolutely.
Things. I would say, man, drums is so that'd be really that's the tough one. That'd be the anchor. That's the anchor. There's so many cats that I know can do different things. I might mix it up. This kid, Josh Foster. I just love Josh Foster.
Josh. Yeah,
great.
For sure.
He's great. Josh, I will use Josh. Let's see. Josh, bass. Let's keep it easy. I'll go with my production partner, Anthony Parrish.
Yeah.
Easy. Guitar. I would say Randy Boland comes to mind. He's Mr. Perfect. He just knows what to do.
Interesting.
That season, and just got everything that you would need. I would go there as far as rhythm section and horns. For artists,
well, who's on keys?
Who's on keys?
And you can have main, aux, organ. Do whatever.
On keys, let's go. Me and T Lee, and we'll figure out what we playing. Right,
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, even give us anybody. We can go MJ. We go Michael Jackson.
They gotta be alive. That's the only caveat.
You should have said that.
My
bro.
bad. I thought I said that earlier. Unlimited budget, unlimited, but they gotta be alive.
Okay.
My bad. I missed that part.
All right. Let's see.
Like, because in some world, like, this might actually happen. That's what
Yeah. I just met and we got a vibe. Let's go Sting. Sting.
It's not where I was expecting. Okay.
That could be a thing.
Huh.
Sting would be great. Eric Clapton.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That was, and that could just be that Feeling Gains influence on me, like, okay, like he just played them songs. He was just killing so bad. It's like, okay. But yeah, that's like, I would love to see something like that.
Gotcha. Cool, man. All right, last question. What do you want to leave with the people?
I want to leave. Let's see. What do I want to leave with the people? I want to leave a legacy of love and something to aspire to with the people. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I took it like the end all be all, or if you meant for this episode. I mean
like last words of motivation, whatever. But like, dog, you can take it however you want to. You can take it however you want to. No. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, self-awareness, man, is a powerful thing because it really opens you to the potential of becoming your best self. So that self-awareness is mainly looks like accountability and being able to recognize when you could have done better, you could have made a better decision, and actually, extracting the lessons from the situations that you encounter. So for me, bumming a gig was like, I see. I can't base my effort on the money. Okay, cool. That was that provides the atmosphere where greatness can come into play, because with that you won't be defensive when people are giving you constructive criticism, or even if it's not constructive, just being able to see the God in everything. That's what I would leave with the people. See God in everything and understand that your difficulty is purposed, because Romans 8:28 says that all things work together for those that love God and are called according to God's purpose. So it would be foolish to think that your difficulty should stop you. It should actually make your toolbox greater. And once you implement those lessons, the lessons are never ending. So every level has new lessons. So just get into it. See God in everything. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Communicate well. Communicate often. Be accountable. Love yourself. Love your body. Fitness. Eat well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
God's got you.
Exactly. All right, man. Socials. Tell the people where to find you.
For sure. I am on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Just1Gil. That's JUS1GIL. And then I'm working on getting my TikTok up. I feel like it's Justin. Yeah, let's see what that is.
It'll be at the link in the bio.
Link in bio.
Yeah.
Yo, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's it. Listen to Justin Gilbert's own albums, Aligned, Questaphonic EP. You can run back the holiday sessions right now if you want to, but
Absolutely.
like, yeah, man, when it's Christmas time, I'll be running it back. So,
my dude.
You can listen to him all over Adam Blackstone's Legacy album, Legacy Live, and the Legacy Instrumental, like on all three of them. Grammy nominated.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully by when this airs, it'll be Grammy
Trophy
winning.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
But yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Major Keyz podcast. Keep pressing on. We'll see y'all next time.